Hi, I'm Tim Roble, and welcome to another episode of Adventure Athlete. We're on physical build day 55 of the Adventure Truck, and let me show you what we got going on. So when I left you last week, I didn't have any of these panels in place. So I knocked this panel out, this upper panel, here, and then here in the door, it's also knocked out. When you pull the table down. So we remember the false bottom that I did in the cabinets. Actually, they came with the false bottom, and I was going to knock it out for more storage area. What I ended up doing was leaving that in, but cutting out the back and then the center row, and I glued the cabinets together and screwed them together. So now we have like it's not real big, but it'll be good for outside storage for little stuff that you want to put in there. Candles, a couple cleaning rags, maybe some spices for cooking. My primary cooking is going to be done outside, and here's the barbecue that's got a single burner and a barbecue on it, and that's going to come out of this area right here on slide tracks, and that'll come out and be able to cook right here, eat right here, and move to the inside. So with this panel right here, which wasn't in place last week, what I did was I made some mounts for it, welded those in to hold the ARB 8.5 foot awning. Got that all set up and ready to put in place, and I remember the only flat area is right here. When I designed the truck, I designed it more like a bullet with a tapered nose and then a flat area and then a bow tail. So this is right now coming to the area where it's a bow tail. It's starting to fade back. And when you put the awning on it, it sits flat in one area, and it's got about 3-inch stick out back here, and then about 1.5 inches stick out front. So to combat that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld in some mounts that actually come out, and we'll bolt the awning out away from the body. It'll touch here, and then I'll make some valance panels out of this aluminum, and that'll be the top and the bottom, and get everything all tied in nice. Moving forward to this front panel, which is the toughest panel I've done on the build so far. Now the VHB tape works really good on a flat panel, but when you're doing something that's got compound curves or something you have to stretch into place, the tape won't hold if it's trying to be pulled off all the time. Flat panel, put it on. I think you could go 100 miles an hour down the road and not have a problem with it. A panel that has a little bow to it, I say shoot some screws in it, and you can see that's what I've done. My solution to fix this out here, now there's a stringer that runs from this exposed screw to the front there, and what I'm going to do is put in a aluminum, it's 6061 T6, 1.5 inches wide by 1/8 inch thick, and I'll make that go through here, and that'll be screwed in so it follows that inner stringer, and that'll give the curve that I'm looking for and blend everything in as we go down the road. So as you know, it's been hot in Southern California the last couple of weeks. Last week we hit temperatures of 112. We saw 116 during the build, and this week is supposed to be 108 to 112. So in the afternoons, what I'm doing is I'm coming inside with the fan, and you can kind of see some of the work that I've done here. So I built this little mesh grid table, or I won't call it a table, it's a valance, and with that's going to have the a garbage can there. But what that did is I wanted to build this out of, I had the rusty mesh already, and the problem was I didn't have any other really rusty metal to go with it that I wanted to use. So I went and made a trip to Home Depot and just got 2 lengths of this 1/8 inch thick by 1.5, I think is what it is, angle iron. That might be 1 by 8. And I cut that, welded it all up, and welded the mesh in, did the cross feature, and then off I went to the internet to figure out, like, how do I rust metal? And what I figured out was hydrogen peroxide, salt, and vinegar seem to work good. I call it rust juice, and just brush it on, and just overnight it'll rust it good enough to start shooting some clear over. and got a couple little saggy areas that I got to sand out today for the clear. I'll do that later on in the day when it's 112. I'll do that inside and start working on that. Another thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to get everything out of the shop area and sitting in the truck. So I have the sink sitting in here, the inverter, and one of the things I brought in was a little single burner stove, which I had planned on screwing down to the countertop. Anybody knows that you're always fighting for space, especially in a little thing like this. So it just so happened that I set it on top of the drawer and came up with the idea to put the burner in the drawer. And this is kind of what it looked like. I had to cut all of this apart, and this is physically screwed into this, and this is screwed down, so everything is nice and secure. And it's set up on a hose, which I changed this back area here, put a grommet in. See if we can get a better of that. There we go. Put a grommet in, and the hose is set up. So I can run the hose down below and run a bulk tank, or I can use the little, I think those are 1 pound cylinders, and that fits real nice in the drawer. And then everything, stows away nice. You want to use the stove. Primarily, we're going to be doing most of our cooking outside. When you build a vehicle this small, you're building just basically to haul your stuff and have a place to go to the bathroom, a place to sleep, a place to get out of the weather if the weather's bad. But primarily, you want your living room to be outside, chairs outside, and enjoying nature. So my thoughts was to make this as easy to get to as possible, because I know in the morning I'm going to get up and want coffee. And with coffee, I'll say I've tried several different methods. A DC percolator, on the top, the stove percolator. My best solution, a French press, instant coffee. I've went through them all. My best solution is to boil water and then just do a pour over method into a cup. For me, it makes the best coffee. Still the closest I have to the house. And then with the French press, it made great coffee, but then you have all these grounds to contend with, and you throw the grounds out, and then you have the glass left with grounds in it. You wash it, and you got stuff in the sink and all this. Pour over is so much easier to put the grounds. Pour it over and throw that into the garbage. You can let that dry out and use that actually the next night to start a fire in the fire pit. So anyway, that's my tips on coffee. But you can see I kind of got stuff laid out and ready to go and moving forward. Into day to day, I hope to have all of those outside panels done and maybe start working on getting this bow tied in correctly. One of the things I noticed is when I did some of the woodworking here, as soon as you glue that and screw that to that panel, it gives the aluminum so much more rigidity, and that's what I was hoping for. That's what I've talked about all along, is doing something like a aircraft, like a honeycomb panel, but using the outer skin is 45 thousandths, held on with a 45 thousandths 3M VHB, a 1-inch styrofoam insert with the Reflectix on the inside, and then screwing and gluing wood paneling to that. And I'm going to do the 1/8-inch birch, and it's going to be propane torched, and it's going to match the cabinets and the other pieces that I put in. So that'll be really well. I've set up in this area. It's not going to happen right away, but right now my goal is to get it paneled, get down to Home Depot so I can start working on some inner stuff, get the taillights installed. And this area right here I'm going to set up so it folds down, and that becomes a shower pan, and be able to take a shower. A medicine cabinet will go in here. That'll be the only mirror that I use in here. But things are starting to shape up. I extended this. It comes out a lot more than it used to. Doesn't look exactly pretty, but I spent last week really kind of fine-tuning and fixing some details that were missing in the truck, and kind of moved through it. Decided my box here is going to come up and over the battery. Got my floor jack. This will be all recovery gear. And then on this other side, I'll start putting some tools and stuff in there too. That's going to be all my electrical. Electrical is going to come up and run in this area. And we still have quite a bit of area to do some creative balance on stuff. Well, once again, I've went long, but I appreciate each and every one of you watching this, commenting on this, concerns. You know, you like what's going on, hit me up. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. I have videos coming out, at least 1 or 2 a week. May not always be on the truck because we're doing a road tripping series in Southern California. Getaways, if you like that type of thing, you might want to check some of those out. But that's going to be it for now. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Tim Roble, and I'll catch you here next time.